He's larger than life. He'll give you strife. He's Todd. He's tall, he's mean. He's labeling machine. He's Todd. Rides a motorbike. He'll tell you what it's like. He's Todd. Don't know what he'll say. He'll scare the kids away. He's Todd. He's Todd.
Hey, happy freaking Thursday. Good to be back. Good to be back. I think I mentioned my San Antonio trip on the last show. I don't know. I can't remember. But anyway, been home for a week or two. Had a big show in San Antonio. Just want to let you know, consequently, my wife is in the other room and she's on a conference call as well. So if you hear some yelling, she's either yelling at her boss or she's yelling at me. Either way. So if you hear some, anyway, she's next door. So we got a good one today. I hope everyone's well out there. Number one, our weather out here in Southern California has been a little on the warm side, but I was talking to Sam, my brother, yesterday. He's headed back to Fort Collins, where apparently they're still getting snow. So it sucks to be you, Sam. Anyway, getting off kind of the beaten path here. You know, normally I'm Dr. Todd, professor of labelology. All right. And we talk about everything labeling. And this is different in a way that I got a couple of guests on here that really aren't kind of focused per se. Well, they're focused, but in a different way. And I was in Colorado, January, Kelly? I don't know, something like that. Whenever we all get together. I know it's freaking cold. And I saw these folks. Brother brought them on board. And I can remember being fast asleep before they came on. And typical me at a brother meeting. But anyway, they came on and you know what? I was inspired. Yes, me, inspired. And so they've got some background and they've talked to some groups in IT and technology and oil and gas and blah, 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 blah. I mean, their resume goes on. It's a mile long. And, you know, they something stuck with me. And I got to tell you, I'm normally not this guy. When before I got kicked out of church, you know, I was a guy that really didn't pay attention but you know what? I did. And something stuck. And, you know, with the times being the way they are and all this, you know, bad crap on TV and stuff like that, they helped me to look at things a little bit differently. The other thing that inspired me to bring these guys on is a good friend of mine, Gilbert Romo, out of Arizona. On social media, he is always posting things. All right. And Kelly, if you want to turn that on real quick, I'm going to look at this. If this doesn't describe me and focus on the word imperfections and realize what my wife has to deal with and the people I work with, right? So this is something that I'm going to encourage my coworkers and everyone in the office, and I know you're all watching back there, to really keep in mind when I piss you off. It's just due to my imperfections. Okay, so deal with it. Anyway, thank you, Kelly, for putting that up on the screen. So today's show is about the career in the industry, or a potential career in the industry. And there's lots of things to do in the industry. I know my son just started with Gray Bar on the inside, and he may want to work his way up. And you know what? I know he's out there watching. All right. In fact, he's right there. Right, looking good, pops. All right. So Justin, pay attention. This show is actually, you know, kind of slated for you. All right. And they have a lot of good stuff to maybe help you in your career path in this industry. You just started, but there's lots of things you can do in the industry. And I'm not going to go into everything that is, but look at me. Look at me after all these years in the industry. Maybe that's a bad example. All right. But I've been doing this in the industry for 25 plus years. All right. And I'm only 38 years old. So anyway, maybe don't use me as an example. So one of the things that we're going to talk about today is improv. I know I try to be funny at times. I think I'm funny, but anyway, that's up to your own opinion. So without further ado, all right, I want to introduce Bruce and Gail Montgomery. And hey, look at these guys. Huh?
Yay! Woo!
First of all, what in the hell are you taking? Second of all, I want what you're taking. All right. One of the things I clearly remember is, believe it or not, at least in front of a camera or in front of an audience, they're like this.
Yeah.
Their energy is endless. And you know what? It was refreshing. I got to tell you, my view when I watched you coach our entire group, mentor our entire group, it was refreshing. It really was, to see the energy and to see you two work together. And let me clarify something. This is a husband and wife team and not a brother sister team. They share the same last. Again, and you know what? It doesn't matter either way. All right. But
your wife is behind you in another room. I have to sit next to mine. So just, whatever.
Well, listen, mine is always in another room. Tries to be on purpose. But today she's got an excuse because I got the show and she's got another call. But anyway, that is her choice. And again, freedom of choice. But it works well for the both of us. So one of the things that, and real quick, I'm going to share. Let's see if this works, Kelly. Let's see if, okay. So here, no, that didn't work. If I move my thingy, it didn't. So let's do this. All right. And this is the beauty of improv. All right. So here's a little taste, and we can go into later on. I think Kelly has all the contact information, but I was diligently searching and looking for factoids and really doing my research on you folks. All right. Prior to the show. And one of the things, and you can see the oil and gas and technology and communications and all the folks that I think that you've been a great asset to, right? But what you do is basically backed up by neuroscientific data. All right. And so basically you guys back up your BS like I do. And really, if at the end of the day, if somebody doesn't back up their BS, they become a liar. Think about that one for a second. Right. And that's very true. So I sling a lot of bold. Ooh, I almost said I.
Oh.
I swear. What did I tell you before the show? What did I tell you?
You caught it.
Well done. Well done.
All right. You know what? I sling a lot of BS, but you know what? It's BS that I can back, and you guys can obviously back up your BS, and it worked. And look at me, right? Again, I'm an example of, I took away something from when I saw you guys that actually is helped me. And, that's a good thing because, obviously for the past, I don't know how many years now, honey. Oh God, we've been married. She has been able to really get through to me. But anyway, no, thank you very much. Number one, for showing up to Colorado on the very cold day. Number two is for what you guys did, all right, for Brother as a group. I think that was fantastic. And number three, which I should put on top of the priority list, thank you for showing up. So, ladies and gentlemen, the Bruce and Gail Montgomery. Tell us a little bit about your company, what you do, how you do it, and please, no fighting.
No problem. Right. No promises. Zero promises.
Okay. All right. But tell us a little bit about what you do, please. And then I'm going to ask you a few more questions. By the way, I emailed Bruce a list of questions that I was going to ask. And this is really the first time I've done it because this type of thing is really not in my genre. And I'm not going to share what he wrote back, but boy, was I corrected.
Hey,
all right?
ChatGPT corrected it.
Wait a
Let's be
minute. Do
clear.
I need to reprimand him?
It's just ChatGPT.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Well, and I can tell you, all right, it just whoops, I don't want to share that again. Let me see. I don't want I don't want to do that either. I want to do this. So one of the things is I actually mentioned you guys as motivational speakers. Woo! Boy, you should have saw what I got back. All right.
No.
It's more it's more of on the innovation and business relation side of things, which I thought was apropos. Right. So you're really in visionaries. All right. And talk a little bit about that. Kelly's yelling at me to let you guys talk. And I told you if we go over, that's fine. But anyway, please, the floor is yours.
Awesome.
Please let the audience know.
Well, thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you, Todd. Thank you for having us. I'm going to turn it over to my, so I report to Gail. We are a female-owned company, ExperienceYes.
Yes.
So I'm going to turn it over to my lovely CEO and wife, Gail.
Well, I want to start by saying thank you so much for having us. Honestly, the energy that we bring is made better because of our superpower outfits today. We both have superpower outfits on today.
A whole lot of brag. I mean to brag.
Kind of nice. We got some swag
It's good stuff.
at the event. Bruce is trying very hard to look like a Gen Zer.
Yeah, with my fanny pack.
With his fanny pack crossed his chest.
That's right. I don't wear it on my fanny. I wear it on my chest.
That's
chest pack.
Crazy. So about us. So yes, we're a female-owned kind of boutique consulting company. Bruce brings heavy data background and IT background. I bring a heavy people, change management and training background. And together, we make this kind of great, like two great taste great together.
It's peanut
like
butter.
Reese's peanut butter cup for those people that remember those commercials. We help people build their business relationship intelligence, or we call that BRIC. So we teach teams and leaders how to actually communicate better and how to be more creative and flexible and adaptable. You said we're going to talk a little bit about improv. When people hear that, they run. I'm not sure you're even coming back. I don't see you, so I'm a little nervous. And really what that's about is comfort in ambiguity. Like the more that you can build your resilience to what's happening in the world of business, the better you're going to be. And so loved that quote about, you can really tell about someone through their imperfections. And, when everyone's all shiny and doing well, that doesn't mean anything. When they build themselves and when they continue to improve their skills, we call them power skills, not soft skills, then they can improve their business relationships and outcomes, both with peers and with colleagues. So you mentioned it. We use the neuroscience behind what happens in the brain when you do experiential improv interventions. And it's pretty fascinating and has been shown to increase creativity, flexibility, adaptability, collaboration, all those things that we need today in our business climate. And on that note, I'm on zipit.com.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yeah, I don't know. He may have a question or something.
Todd,
I don't want Kelly to yell at me.
Yeah, Kelly's mean.
She's so mean.
You know what? I was told to be quiet by Kelly. So, Bruce, go ahead, please.
What I missed.
So one of the things that we're particularly passionate about, Gail mentioned it as far as neuroscience goes. So we've actually been a part of the studies that take a look at what happens in your brain when you're improvising.
We do have brains.
Yes, I can
confirm
confirm
that. Like huge news.
Yep.
Huge.
Yep. So what happens in the brain when you're improvising versus what happens in the brain when you're doing a memorized act? And what happens is there's this very special part of your brain that's your executive judge. It's the prefrontal cortex that really is responsible for saying no to things. It always says no. It's afraid of everything.
It's the truck driver, Todd. Yep. Honestly, it's like, hey, I'm keeping you on the road.
And what they found was with our brains and with several others is that when you suppress that part of your brain, that's where this whole interconnectivity of something called the default mode network. It's all these interconnections.
Fancy words coming out of Bruce's mouth
that light up. That once that thing gets out of the way, you are more likely to get to better listening, better collaboration, better ideas, more ideas, etc. So that's where, you know, I'm a nerd by trade, right? I'm an IT guy in my background. And so I know she'll comment all day about it. I get excited about the data. I get excited about what happens in the brain. And that's really what we hang our hat on is that concept that you have to change your brain to change your business ultimately.
Yeah. Good.
Oh,
that's really good.
That's my CEO.
That was approved. Awesome.
That's good.
So I got a message from Kelly, and I've known Kelly for a very long time. In caps, now you actually listen? ?
Well done.
That's
well
good.
done. These are good things.
Welcome back, Kelly.
You can be taught.
Yes.
You can be taught.
Welcome
Actually,
back. So
it's interesting you say that, Todd, just real quick. I think it's irritating how companies are like, we're going to send you to a class, or we're going to put you in a training program. And then you come back and they expect you to just be great at it. It's like rehab. It's like they're sending you to rehab. You know, you learn all these tips and tricks on how to be better, all this skill work. And then you come back to your toxic environment and you're expected to just be different and changed. And I think we can all agree, like, you don't take one lesson in, you know, golf and you're amazing and in the Masters. It doesn't work that way. So you got to practice. So Kelly, he's learning.
well, speaking of rehab, well, I won't go there. All right.
Oh.
Anyway, they don't know what they're talking about. Anyway, so when we had our group, right, our group is a very diverse group, right? And within our group, we have, you know, managers, you know, we have a varying, you know, product managers, sales managers, blah, blah, blah. And then we have different divisions within Brother. You know, I sell this stuff behind me, but there's different divisions and they sell other products, and, you know, each one works differently. We all work differently, you know, and then you got, so it was a diverse group, and it really didn't target, even though, you know, we'll talk about your books in a little bit, but, you know, it wasn't targeted towards, you know, manager, you know, or striving to be that manager. There's guys, gals in between that, you know, are happy doing whatever the hell they're doing right now. And as we discussed before the show, I'm happy. I don't want to be a manager, right? And this is on film. This is so I'm good to go, right? And I've been a manager, and I've been a company owner, and I've made $500,000 a year, and I tell you what, I'm happiest now, and I'm happier than I've ever been just staying put. So what do you have to say to somebody like that? I mean, what would you give? In other words, would your response be, no, you should strive to be more? What would be your response?
I'll kick it off. I would say, to start with, first of all, I might need a loan. Sounds like you made some money, so I'm gonna give you my address after this is over.
I'm on my third marriage, so the
50,000.
Yeah,
50,000 is good. I see. Oh, well, that explains a lot. Okay, so what I want to say is, if you're happy where you are, stay where you are. I guarantee that every single person, regardless of whether they want to be promoted or move into a different role, still comes home or finishes their workday and says, man, I wish I would have had a better conversation with that person. Or, man, I did not do a good job of listening to what they said. Or, shoot, I messed up and I upset that person. So there's still relationships that people have in their lives that within business and outside of business that they think they're doing all right in, and they're not all the time. And so there's always things we can improve. I mean, I'm not perfect at a lot of things we teach. And I'm closing. I don't want you to make a face, because I'm sure he's going to agree with that. We're just striving, right? I'm staying curious and less certain and trying to grow. What would you say?
Yeah, I mean, I think the important thing is you got to be what you want to be, right? And if you want to manage people, or if you don't want to manage people, you need to embrace that. Where we come at it from kind of a different perspective is, it's really important to stress how your brain reacts in uncertain times by doing new things. So even though you may decide that you don't want to manage people, and even today, Todd, this is a good example of you bringing on 2 people to your show that aren't normally here, right? It's about stretching that muscle, if you will, to become more comfortable in the space of things that you're not comfortable doing. It's just like Gail's reference earlier, where we can all admit that if you go swing a golf club one time with one lesson, you are not an expert at golf. You do it a whole bunch of times and maybe you get a little better because it's golf and it's miserable. And this is from a person who loves golf, right? I get it. So it's important to know that you just need to continue to as Gail likes to say, stay less certain and stay more curious about things, as your son Justin is now getting into the world of just trying new things, right? Exactly. Trying new things, seeing what happens, and moving forward.
Evolving.
Well, I think for some people out there, and I don't have this feeling because, I've been through the whole gamut, but, I just don't want other folks out there to feel like they're underachievers. If they're happy being, in fact, I can remember when I was owned contracting companies out in Texas, second marriage. There was a guy, my inside guy is still there, a guy named Gary Shelton. He's still on the inside over at one of our distributors. And my God, that was 22 years ago. And, he has no drive whatsoever. He's happy doing what he's doing. And I think he'll share too, that there's no feeling of being an underachiever. However, if you want to climb that ladder, you two have tools, and I know you do, of achieving that goal and going down different avenues and paths that maybe you don't realize to potentially help you get to that goal. Am I correct?
Yeah. And I think we should be clear. This is not, what we do is not for people who, quote, have drive. And I agree with you. I think we need to stop saying, first of all, to kids who are in high school, where are you going to college? Because not everyone goes to college. I think we need to start lifting up the people who are doing the work that needs to happen in the world, regardless of what it is, especially boots on the ground. We don't have a lot of trades experts, and we need that. And it's somehow we got off track on that. And so to the point of your friend who's still there after 20 something years, yay. And also that's got nothing to do with drive. He's comfortable. He is an expert in his field. He's built a life, and that is awesome. And what we do is not about people who are trying to climb some ladder. It's about people who want to be better at those business relationships, period, regardless of moving or not moving.
Why don't you tell Todd just a little bit about the 4 rules of improv that we tend to focus on in our sessions, because I think it'd be worthwhile, when Todd talks about, when you talk about, saying things like, hey, I want to understand how people work together better, how I can maybe use these things to listen better and get more out of my job. I think the rules of improv apply very much to that.
Well, all right. I would say we started with our first one, which is kind of yes and. You can't say yes to everything. And we say a lot of mindless no's. And we also say a lot of buts. Especially because we're afraid. So if someone comes at you with something and says, hey, I need you to do this thing, you're usually like, I'd love to do it, but I don't have any time. And that's different than saying, this seems important to you and I'm not sure I have the time. That's that particular thing, that yes and, that idea of saying like, I'm open, I'm leaving it open, and I want to collaborate with you is huge. The second is,
hold on,
I don't want to dig too deep into
I just want to comment.
I'm just looking at our time.
I just want to comment.
All right, go.
We're going to fight right here.
We're not fighting. We're going to fight. This is
right
all
now.
Good.
This is, yeah.
I hear that you want to talk, and I'm going to keep talking.
It's important to note that with yes and is we often don't think about what happens in the brain when someone hears the word no. So when you say no, still, but, however, all those hundreds of different ways that you creatively say no, because the brain is really good at saying no. There is a fight or flight or a freeze response that happens in the brain that you get a little spurt of cortisol in your brain. And then you're no longer efficient at what you were doing. It actually takes you quite a lot longer to get back to what you were doing in some kind of efficient manner. if you hear the word no. So simply by changing your language, right? Just by changing it just a little bit to saying yes and then discussing how you might be able to affect that answer will dramatically change the relationships with people. That's what I wanted to say.
You want to keep going?
No, you can go next.
So the next one is listen to serve. I can tell you this is one I struggle with a lot. The idea being that when you show up to have a conversation with someone, or someone shows up to have a conversation with you, the last thing you should be doing is thinking about what you need to tell them, or butting in, or, basically cutting them off and making it about you. That you really need to show up and create space that's about them. So, how can I listen to you, listen to what you're saying, and make it about you? And that's a really important thing. The third is support your teammates at all costs. Again, none of this is about leadership. It's about being a good human and being a good teammate. So supporting your teammates at all costs, that's like got your back. Like, don't, when you're in a meeting, if you hear someone say, well, I wish that ops would have gotten that report to us sooner, because that would have meant that I wouldn't have screwed up. Blaming other people, blaming other parts of the business for something that goes wrong doesn't lend itself to that real strong team environment. So it's really more about, we got that wrong. We'll get that better. It doesn't mean people can't be held accountable for their behavior. It just means we do a lot of kind of individual work without thinking about the impact that it has on other people. Mm-hmm. And then the last thing is trust your instincts. Like your gut, the reason there's like this huge bunch of data that's come out that your gut, your stomach is like the second brain, because all the chemicals that get released when you are in a situation that doesn't feel comfortable, or you need to speak up, or you're confused. And we tend not to say anything, especially if we're in the room with, like, Todd, you probably have experienced this. You're a very tall man. I stood next to you. I get very intimidated when I'm standing next to people who are bigger than me. And I tend to not, raise my voice or use my voice when I want to. And I really need to trust my instincts to speak up when it's a situation that matters. And so it's about trusting your instincts. So those are the four that we kind of lay out as the shared
framework.
Language.
Yeah, the framework.
And I'm gonna.
So I tell you my takeaway. Hey, honey, these people on TV say I can't tell you no anymore. So now it's hell no.
Oh, you absolutely can say no, Todd.
Oh,
I hear that you want to go shopping, and I'm not going to give you my card.
Oh, the look and some other gesture I just got.
Anyway,
so
equal, Todd.
Yeah. So the other thing I want to talk about is you together individually, conjointly have your writers. And so I was doing a little bit of research on the books. All right. And so the one that really stuck out to me, all right, is there's three of them. All right. And we'll talk about the last one last. I'll give it a little bit of it, but there's Change. It's a leader's guide to fixing. Okay. A leader's guide to fixing stuff. All right. There's the improv mindset. All right. And then Bruce, on your own, all right, when you're not innovating people, not motivating them, but innovating them with improv. You wrote a little something called Terror in the Desert. And I actually looked at that one, and that's pretty badass, man. I may have to get that. I'm not a reader. I don't have the patience to read, to be honest with you, but that looks pretty good. But the two that I want to focus on, that's primarily focused on today's show. And again, folks out there right now I stand to be corrected in a couple of things. And I've learned something on today's show, but again, this industry is very vast. You can go wherever the hell you want to go within the industry, or you can stay wherever the hell you want to stay. All right. With mindset and everything else, I again, that helps us within this industry. And I'm always talking about this industry as a career. And you talked about college, and I tell you, you know what? I was a top of my class at the School of Hard Knocks. cum laude, graduated, but nonetheless is that I don't necessarily go out there and preach at, this is a career that I chose, when I was broke, essentially. And so it's worked out very well for me. But first of all, let's go back. So let's talk about the two books. So Change a Leader's Guide to Fixing, and then the Improv Mindset. So if you would spend a couple of minutes on those, and then at the end of the show, we'll show your contact information in case anybody's interested.
Awesome. Which one do you want to take?
I'll take Change, A Leader's Guide to Fixing. We basically took this book called the I Ching, which is like this old, ancient Chinese book that leaders use. That was like gamified. So leaders would access it if they had a question about leadership, like, what do I do with my team? They're, falling apart. And so it's totally gamified. They would flip some stones over and then go to a place in the book and find the answer. So it's very 8-ball, like the Magic 8-Ball in a way. It's a way to come sideways at challenges that you have. Whether you're a leader or an individual, I think you can do that. And so you flip 3 pennies, 3 quarters, whatever, 6 times, you get a code, you go to that place in the book, and it'll give you kind of a metaphor for where you are as a leader right now and 5 things you can do right now to address it. So it's super gamified and fun, and it has a lot of good meat in there about emotional intelligence and relationships. So that's that.
It's all action oriented, right? It's that
you're not supposed to read it cover to cover. Yeah. It's like you access it when you want to.
Yeah. What are the 5 things I need to do right now to make this better?
Okay.
Yeah. They are.
All right.
Your turn.
So the Improv Mindset really documents a lot of that. She's got a book. Documents a lot of the neuroscience, the studies that we've been a part of, as well as ways to approach innovation better, approach corporate culture better. All of those things are kind of listed throughout the book. We also did, Todd, you mentioned that you're not crazy about reading books. If you're interested, I am happy to send you a link to the audiobook. We did audio in a space very similar to right here. We recorded the Improv Mindset as an audiobook, and then the novel Terror in the Desert I also did as an audiobook as well, in a very small space without another human being sitting next to me. So it's all those acting talents coming out.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, again, I'm looking at your website right now, and there's a lot of great information, not only on the books that we mentioned, but there's videos. Obviously, there's a client list, which I hope we're on right now. Right. And it really is, from my own personal experience and from what I do and from my background within this industry, it has been a help. So, and you're talking to a tough cookie.
You're a tough cookie, but you've got like a nougat center that like
you have a soft,
there's
creamy
caramel
filling.
in the
I'm
middle.
certain of it. Might be hard on the outside.
And
show's over. We're gonna have to edit. We're gonna have to edit this crap there, Kelly, because I don't want that getting out there. So, before we say goodbye, and I thought this would run over, and I'm glad it did run over by a few minutes. Any comments, anecdotes, anything that you guys want to throw in there before we give out some contact information?
Sure.
I'm going to say one thing. Start with yes. When you have conversations with people and people come at you with things, start from a place of what might be possible as opposed to shutting down because you're nervous or scared or it's different.
What I would say is fun comes first. So it's really, really important to remember what happens in the brain when you're laughing, what happens in the brain when you're smiling. Like there's a whole host of data about a smile being contagious and laughter being contagious. That's the space that we come from. We want to laugh more. And that's, Todd, I think, when you said you saw us stand up there and do what we do, that's what we try to do day in and day out, is laugh a lot. So,
hey, honey, now they're saying that I have to say yes. All right. You're confusing.
Aw.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks,
Well,
Sam.
you know what,
Appreciate it.
and that's a key. Everyone out there that watches this show, they know I have a great time doing it, and I hope they get laughs. And it's a little bit different. Now my dog's yelling at me. So anyway, they know that it's very lighthearted, and they're watching to make the in case I screw up or cuss on air, and I don't disappoint either. So anyway, I want to thank both of you very, very, very much for coming on board today. Again, I think that within this industry, this vast industry, there's different ways of looking at things. I do agree with the vast majority of what you say as far as the way that I talk to people, and my delivery and my responses and stuff like that. So I agree wholeheartedly. So again, thank you very much for being part of this show. All right, folks, this will be available on YouTube as well at some point on the YouTube channel. We want to give, there they are. There's their contact information. All right. So if anything has intrigued you today, please contact or reach out to Bruce or Gail. Look at my son. Wonderful show. Thank you, Gail and Bruce. You know what?
That's nice.
He must want some money. I guarantee I'm going to get a text after this. Actually, he's looking for a car right now, so I think that's next on his list. And even my brother chimed in, and my brother's actually in the industry. My much older brother, he's been in this industry since they talked via barbed wire, right? Just bought 2 books.
Cans in a string. Yeah, that's great.
So anyway, yeah, my brother actually reached into that very tight cobweb wallet of his and bought 2 of your books. So anyway,
I love it. Thank you. Thanks, Sam, and thank you, Todd.
Thank you, Sam. So anyway, again, folks, if you want to contact Bruce or Gail, get out there, contact them directly. If you have any questions on the show today, contact them. If you need some bad advice, you can always contact me. You know that. We're going to show our contact information as a team, I think. Kelly, do we have that queued out there? Nope. Yeah, newbies. Anyway, wait, go back. Wait, there we are. Hold on a second. There's our contact information. All right. Oh, you know what? Maybe I screwed up, Kelly. I'll admit. I think we're supposed to go through the next episodes. I am out of order. She just yelled at me, so I'm out of order. So you know what? Here's our contact information. Now my dog's yelling at me. So anyway, if you want to contact me, Jamie, Dan, Bruce, Rob Dawkins, or Craig, here's our contact information. Can we go one back to the barcode? Hey, so I got the BS with Todd YouTube channel out there. It's growing every week. All right. Scan that. Please go on to YouTube. I still haven't gotten a damn dime out of this thing. But Hank, I'm not supposed to tell you no. So shut up. God. Anyway, go to the YouTube channel. It's always fun to get new viewers out there and learn some stuff. And let's go to the next episode. All right. I have Mr. Mark Mullins with Fluke. And that I've had a partnership with Fluke for a very, very long time using one of our apps. But we have a new app out, all right, the Brother Pro Label Tool, and it works with Fluke. And it's tried and tested, and it works like a champ. And I'm going to show everyone out there with Mark how this new app works, to where you don't even have to touch a damn printer. Everything's done, with this stuff. Oh, look, it's my favorite screen there. Anyway, thank you, folks, for tuning in. I appreciate everyone that did. Catch us on YouTube for the replay if you didn't have the opportunity. Check our next show, which is Fluke. Stay healthy out there. And I don't think there's anything I'm forgetting. Well, you know what? Chances are there's a bunch of crap I am forgetting. But I want to thank you for tuning in. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time.